where to look. Is this the lens? Right, I'm gonna look there. When Sheena first asked me to do a Doodle and Destress workshop for staff, I was really excited. For a couple of reasons. Firstly, because it's something that I'm really passionate about, and a lot of you know that I do the Doodle and Destress club with the kids under normal circumstances. And I've done a lot of reading, research into the effects of doodling on the brain. So I was really excited to be able to share a snippet of that with some of you. And secondly, I thought if even one staff member tries this and gets something from it, that would be really cool. So let's give it a go. Okay, so the plan is I'm going to talk you through some things that I find really interesting about doodling. Some notable people who've done it through history, including a mathematician who came up with a graphical depiction that's now used widely while he was doodling, how it can affect your memory, why it's an emotional outlet and how to make it an emotional outlet for you, and how doodling enhances creative thought and processing in the brain. While I do this will be interesting, I'm going to have the camera on my page and I'm going to doodle while I talk. And the doodles I do aren't going to be related to what I'm talking to. They're not going to be clear links. I'm just going to move my hand and make marks while I tell you the stuff I'm telling you. I invite you to, after the video, to think back to some of the things that I've told you about and see if there's any connection to the shapes and the marks that I made while I told you the information. Just out of interest, to see if it's affected your brain in any way. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the people who doodled throughout history. 26 out of 44 American presidents doodled. Roosevelt doodled animals and children. Ronald Reagan supposedly drew cowboys and football players. And John F. Kennedy drew loads and loads and loads of dominoes. There was a memory study done by a woman called Jackie Andrade, and she got a group of 40 participants and she got them to listen to a voicemail that was 2.5 minutes long, and half of the group were asked to shade in boxes while they listened to a very mundane list of people's names who were attending a party or something. And they were also allowed to write down these names. Another half of the group listened to the list and they were allowed to write them down, but they were asked not to doodle. And the participants apparently weren't told that it was to test their memory, they were just given the instructions. And the group who shaded in the little boxes remembered the names 29% more than the group who didn't. So there is a clear link to memory with doodling. And onto the mathematician who devised a graphical depiction during a doodling session. So forgive my pronunciation here, mathematicians. Stanislaw Ulam apparently devised the Ulam spiral or the prime spiral during a doodle. So the spiral, so I read, is a graphical depiction of the set of prime numbers, and he devised this during a wee sketchy doodle when he was at a long meeting apparently. So I find that quite interesting. Doodling enhances your creative thought processes and your outputs. So because it's somewhere in between daydreaming and awareness, it allows your brain to find something that's lurking at the back, bring it to the front, and join something up naturally. Some people believe it's similar to the state that we go into when we're dreaming. So when your brain's processing the thoughts from the day, it's kind of like what happens when you doodle. I did a course recently, I did some training, and I spoke to a few colleagues about this actually, one of whom lent me a book, which I have yet to read, on graphic facilitation, which is kind of linked to art therapy and doodling, but in a very loose sense. It's more linked to representing thoughts and ideas through images. So if someone was to draw a meeting, they would draw visual representations of what's discussed at the meeting. And I found this course really interesting. For instance, there was things such as, right, these are two triangles, and one of these triangles is dirty and one of them is clean. How would we represent that? And so it's as simple as this. So it was things like that. It was kind of ways to represent concepts visually that would make everyone in the meeting understand that this means dirty and this means clean, in a really simple visual way. So with graphic facilitation, there's a lot more I want to learn about it, but I think it does have a lot of links to what happens to your brain when you doodle, and the way that the brain can associate mark making and pictures with concepts and ideas. There are also a lot of theories about what you draw naturally, whatever comes out, and what that means about you, or what that means about the way you're feeling that day anyway. Supposedly, if you draw human figures and you draw a whole human, not just a face, it means that you have a positive body image and a healthy body image, because you connect identity to a complete body and not just a smiley face or a features. If you do draw faces and you draw really detailed eyes, lots and lots going on, apparently this means that you are looking for attention. If you draw really detailed lips, apparently it means that you feel like you have a lot of secrets to keep. Apparently if you draw boxes, if you're always someone who draws structured boxes, it means that you like structure in your life. If it's all straight lines and hard shapes like that, it's always someone who likes structure and routine, which you can kind of see. A lot of the marks I make my natural go-to in doodling if I'm feeling like I just want to just kind of get some energy out. If I'm listening to something or processing something in my head, I often just do circles, loads and loads of circles with a lot of movement in my hands, different sizes. I find it really therapeutic. And this does not have to look good. I mean, you can see it doesn't look good. It doesn't look bad. It's just marks. So if you're one of these people that says, oh, I'm not arty, I'm not artistic, try and separate yourself from that when it comes to doodling. It's not about that. It's neutral. It's not good or bad, it's just stuff. Always do this as well. This is one of my standard lines this way, lines that way. No set number, just whatever feels good. But I guarantee when I look back at this later on, I will know exactly what I was telling you when I drew all of this stuff. I always have music on when I'm drawing or doodling or doing anything. I feel like music and art for me are very combined. So give it a go.